Lebanon is losing everything that it has. Like it lost its institutions long time ago, but it's losing also its resources in terms of the human resources.
Dear friends, welcome to another edition of Forum 2000 Online Chat. I am Arzu Gaybullah, and joining me today is Shirine Jurdi, a peace builder whose work has focused on peace, social cohesion, and equality. Jurdi is the executive member of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, Lebanon section, and the International Board MENA regional representative. She is the campaign team leader of Stop Killer Robots in Lebanon, and part of the Permanent Peace Movement Secretariat, a MENA Partnership for the Movement of Armed Conflict, for Prevention of Armed Conflict, Regional Liaison Officer of the Global Partnership for the Prevention of Armed Conflict. Shirine, welcome once again to Forum 2000 Online Chat, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Arzu, and I want to thank Forum 2000 for this opportunity.
Shirine, perhaps we could start from Lebanon today and how the country has changed, if it has at all, since the devastating explosion last summer and the October Revolution in 2019 that shook the foundation of the country. Are we seeing any changes, political, social? What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, definitely we have witnessed huge changes. I mean, like now we're living in a Lebanon that we did not know before. Even today is very different from yesterday. Each day comes with new challenges. The October 17th revolution was an opportunity for us to say that corruption was widespread, that the lack of the rule of law was widespread, that the lack of institutions or lack of institutions for or infrastructures for peace, everything was devastating at the eve of the October Revolution. And it was a righteous revolution because of what we're passing right now. We know and we're clear, it's clear. I mean, now it's obvious that the October Revolution was just something that we needed back then. It's even like we can say maybe it was a bit late to have this revolution, but it was really what was needed. Unfortunately, we did not see major changes, though definitely there are some changes, but we did not see changes in terms of the positive implications on institutions, on maybe like the electoral laws, or maybe changes in terms of the rule of law. And this is what is impeding any kind of development. The catastrophic, I mean, like even when I remember the issue of the explosion, it's something that goes beyond what one can even think that you're witnessing, that you're living. You cannot believe that we have witnessed this small country on Mediterranean with all the sufferings that we're passing through. I mean, by the time when we had the explosion, there were already like some kind of an inflation. The Lebanese lira was losing its value. But like poverty was increasing, people were losing their jobs. And remember, like we had also the challenges of the COVID. I mean, we had like 2 days because the government doesn't have a very holistic, unified, like a kind of a strategy to see like how to deal with the COVID crisis. We had a 2-day off. Imagine, like we had a lockdown and then a 2-day off, and then we were supposed to have a lockdown when the explosion happened. So people were in between 2 lockdowns. On that day, just imagine, like it was COVID time. You had more than 4,000 people injured. And when you talk about injury during this explosion, it's not a normal injury. It's not a small like scar. No, it's glass. People lost their eyes. People lost their hands. People lost their organs. So people lost their loved ones. Even if you're not a survivor and you're not a family of a victim, you are a survivor of this catastrophe in terms of the emotional and psychological impact that it has on all of us. I was at home, which is a bit far, but still I could feel this gravity. There was this pressure that I cannot even explain in words. Something that we have not witnessed. I mean, I've witnessed the war as a kid. We used to jump to go to shelter places. We used to know exactly like how we want to escape these noises. But the noise of that explosion was something out of this world. And afterwards, I mean, like when you see it in person, when you go to that location, it's something
devastating.
It's beyond, Arzu. You can have wars for years and you won't have the same destruction. I'm talking about the physical one. Let go of the emotional and people's mindset and people's way of living. So definitely, we passed, and we are still passing through different difficult times. But now we are in a new stage of. Yesterday, one of the parliamentarians, or I can't remember who, said we are just like living in a Titanic. A few months back, the president of the republic said we're going to hell. So between hell and a Titanic, is there a choice?
That is, I mean, what you're describing, first of all, is devastating to hear. I remember friends who are originally from Lebanon sharing the footage from the explosion, and friends who were there at the time, posting videos of their homes, of their family, friends' homes, and how much destruction that explosion caused. And as you describe them, and for someone who wasn't there, not seeing that footage was really a wake-up call to the extent of the destruction. And yes, it was indeed a devastating time for I think not just only people of Lebanon, but also for everyone who had friends and family there, or also for the Lebanese who lived abroad in other countries. And I still feel the extent of that devastation carry through their lives and how much it has impacted them. This is indeed a very dark moment. But what I am curious to hear from you is, at the time of the explosion, there were a lot of demands from the people. About the accountability for government taking responsibility, especially for this site, especially for the damage and the accident itself, like whether there were any mechanisms in place to prevent this from happening. And what I would like to hear from you is whether you saw this accountability actually come to life, whether there were any major steps taken by the government officials to actually take responsibility for what happened on their watch.
Sometimes it's even hard to talk. This is like, now I'm feeling like even I'm putting an effort to talk, just to see the word like was sending us messages. The word was trying to help the government. What the government did, because of not the pressure by the public, though we would like to say that it was because of the pressure of the public, but because of political games, the government resigned. And you know what kind of accountability we had? Now we have also the issue of COVID. We have also like very high cases of people infected. The government position is that it's going to. So it's a resigned government, right? So now how they want to try to make it work is it says they will stop. I don't know the exact terminology in English, but they will refrain from doing the work that they're supposed to do in terms of a resigning government. So this is the kind of accountability that is being held. Even in terms of investigation, the judge that was assigned with this role was also put on hold, and another judge was put back to another. So it means like there is no responsibility to how they're dealing with this grave catastrophe. Not only with the catastrophe itself, also with issues that has to do with repercussions on the people, on the survivors, on the family of the victims. So imagine like with all this, like the glasses that was broken, that was from the houses, the municipality sent an ultimatum to people to remove the debris of the destruction. Otherwise, people will be given tickets to pay. So just imagine, so if you want to talk about accountability, I think it's something that is not present in their dictionary, and it's something that we need to raise. We need to raise, and we need to shed light on accountability in every forum that we can have. And thank you, Arzu, for raising this. This is very important. Accountability. How is it that we can raise accountability? Like, I mean, for me, we were working on issues as this is a crime against humanity. The day before yesterday, they found also in one of these electricity power plants a nuclear products. So where is the accountability? So we were trying to raise the issue in terms of the responsibility to protect, because we know as part of the General Assembly resolution, and all the states agreed to have this responsibility to protect, and for states to take their responsibility also to help a state in case it's not able or unwilling to provide protection for its citizens. We're still not there yet. We wanted to raise it for the Security Council. There are many groups initiatives to raise concerns about crimes against humanity, to try to raise this awareness to the international community, to call on the UN agencies, to call on friend states, but still like we are unable to reach a way. Because why I'm saying this, because nothing is changing now. Today poverty increased maybe more than 30%, definitely more than 30%. The value of the Lebanese currency has devaluated around 80%. Inflation is around 400%. I mean, like, things are crumbling. We don't know what's next. Even like now, insecurity, electricity. We are being even like now, we don't know whether we're going to have electricity next month or not. So as if like it's something that is just falling apart, but it's something that the revolution was calling for. The revolution had the slogans that called for equality, that called for the rule of law, that called for the judiciary system, that called for elections. Because even like for me now, they say, yeah, but it's you who elected these parliamentarians, so you have also to pay the price. But Arzu, first, we had a new electoral law during our last elections. Second, there were lots of violations, and that goes along. And even we had an NGO that worked on this called LADE. LADE documented violations, but to my surprise, and this is something we need also to say, there was a tweet from the EU saying that the Lebanese elections went smooth and it was correct. And so how come we come up with this tweet? How come we approve this? There were lots of violations. Even people who were running the elections, they did not see their name in their ballot. So it means like this is a vicious circle of corruption, and corruption is at the heart of things. We have to understand this within the context of the political confessional system. So it's a political system that is enshrined within the religion communities. And it's not a win-win situation that they deal with each other. It's a win-lose. So if this community takes some power, it's at the expense of the other community. And this is like how they deal with the system. So it's a business like, it's not a state. And even allegiances is to these political parties, for example, within the context of this political confession system. Definitely, I would not say that all the Lebanese people are within this mindset or like the awareness that we want to work for an independent or for a state building approach. Lots are run by their emotions within the indoctrination that we have lived all these years to say that the political leader is the one who is protecting us and the other one is the one who wants to kill us. So definitely this is also the mindset. We don't know, because even like now what I see, my friends and my colleagues belong to all the spectrum of the Lebanese communities. I see many are just shocked that they were waiting for poverty. They were waiting for people to be hungry. They were waiting for people to be in need. Why? Just to go down the street and to go to protest, to revolt, to say no to these political parties. And it's not happening yet in huge amounts. And some are saying, so the Lebanese context is really very weird. So we're not even like able to theorize. Is it that hunger is going to make people go down the street, or is it something else? So let me say that the political system is very smart, enshrined in all aspects of life. You cannot put your child in school if you don't have this connections in terms of, for example, they can provide you with the money, they can provide you with everything, they control everything, So it's those people who are trying out of no resources. It's people's resource. It's the mind, the resource of the mind. It's some of the work that people are trying to think of and dream of state building, a state, a Lebanon that we dream of. This is mainly, but definitely it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge, and what you're also describing in terms of political situation on the ground, it sounds very familiar in many different countries and contexts that we're seeing around the world. But this brings me to my next question, and sort of. So many times in your answers you said we, and you mentioned the people, and this is what I would like you to talk to us a little bit more. You did an interview with Forbes where you said, whether with COVID-19 pandemic or the Beirut explosion, was important to move the shift to a people-led approach. Screaming, we the people matter. And that one of the important lessons was what doesn't kill you makes you stronger collectively. So is this still the case? Are you seeing Alayesh Mushtarak, the coexistence motto that was very popular during the October Revolution in 2019, calling for collective action and demanding change, or is it more divided now? You mentioned a little bit the division, but if you can tell us a little bit more about this division, if there is, or this collective action, if there is. Do people of Lebanon still think they matter and they can change the current situation?
Wow, this is a very difficult question. Can you imagine like how things are changing? I feel sorry even to have to say this. But sometimes we don't want to have some wishful thinking. First, let me tell you about the Aish al-Mushtarak. Aish al-Mushtarak is one of these core concepts that the political system comes up with, and I think it's even like the thing that why do we have to say that we want to live together if we are able to live together, you know? So I think now, because the political debate, even among the revolutionaries, have been divided, let's say, in the sense that people's demands, like at the beginning, it was in terms of state building. The slogans, like even the slogans that we've seen, how even like the organization of the protest, the WhatsApp groups, because there are lots of WhatsApp groups, but it has lately a bit changed in the sense that some people are more radical than others. So some people, they think because of let's say poverty, or let's say the inflation that we're passing through. So some people would say, we want to have access to food, or we are against, it's a revolution against hunger. And others would say, no, you cannot say it's a revolution against hunger because we are for state building. But there are other groups that are more radical groups that would say, we have to pinpoint the issues of weapons, and maybe the issue of Hezbollah, and the issue that we are facing an expansionist policy, and we are at the risk of this regional dynamics that is putting Lebanon at an inferior position, while Lebanon is losing everything that it has. Like it lost its institutions long time ago, but it's losing also its resources in terms of the human resources. Lately, lots of people have migrated, left Lebanon to find a decent job. You know, now minimum wage is almost $70. It used to be 400 something dollars.
Thank you so much, Shirine, for joining us today at another edition of Forum 2000 Online Chat. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for telling us about the complex situation Lebanon is in today, the many very difficulties, and how divided the country is, and how much work there still needs to be done for seeing more progress in the country. Thank you once again for being with us, and thank you, the audience, for watching.